If you've ever seen a Ferrari FF, you'll know why it caused some controversy when it arrived back in 2011. A Ferrari hatchback was not, after all, something we expected or even thought we needed. Well, the FF has been replaced, or rather it's been changed into this, the GTC4Lusso. It's still big, it's still a four-seater with a V12 up front, but Ferrari has done a host of changes to the styling, not least of which is smoothing out the roofline so it looks a bit more coupe-like instead of a shooting brake. But that's enough of talking about the styling. We've got some wonderful roads here in northern Italy to drive on, so let's get out there and give it a go. Now, there are plenty of choices for people who want to spend a lot of money on a car with a proper back seat, but most of the options are sedans or even SUVs of some description. But this is a coupe and it's also a Ferrari, so it has to go hard, and the good news is the GTC4Lusso delivers. Okay, so GTC4Lusso, it's a fair name, but what does it mean? Well, the GT, that's Gran Turismo, of course. It means it's a Grand Tourer. C, that's coupe. 4, it's got four-wheel drive, and Lusso apparently is Italian for luxury. Now, we've got plenty of that in here. As soon as you step in, you can't smell it, but there's lots of leather around and there's a real aroma there's a sense of presence just getting in here. They've done a lot to the interior compared with the outgoing FF. They've completely redesigned the dash. There's a big 10.2-inch screen here, which is accessible by the passenger as well as the driver. The idea is to bring the passenger into the whole equation. And there's even a separate adjustable display with another screen above the glove box. That separate screen is a $9,500 option, and a full-length glass sunroof will cost another $32,500, all of which goes on top of the $578,000 asking price. So like any Ferrari, you've got a twin clutch gearbox. Now that means it can be driven either in auto mode like now, or you just hit a button and you're back to full manual, down through the gears. And we're off. We're on a really twisty road here. There's quite a few motorbikes, but I don't think they're going to catch this fella. Now up front, you've got a big, naturally aspirated V12 engine. The 6.3 litre V12 is good for 507 kilowatts of power, and that's without a turbocharger. What it uses is sheer capacity and revs as well, because it simply begs to be strung out to beyond 8,000 RPM, where it delivers the goods both in terms of speed and a spine-tingling howl from the exhaust. Ferrari claim it'll do 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds and top out at 335 kilometres an hour if you're game. Now, luxury isn't just about having a comfortable interior. The thing is, this is pretty good to drive as well in terms of the ride comfort. The suspension, it's Ferrari's typical magnetic dampers, which can be adjusted either for, depending on whether you've got it in sport mode or comfort mode. It can be adjusted for handling or ride comfort. Now, in comfort mode, it's actually really good on the bumps. It's also quiet. Now, like the FF, the GTC4Lusso has got four-wheel drive. You really don't notice it in everyday driving on normal roads. The idea is that it's better in snow, or if you come from Dubai, perhaps even sandy roads. The four-wheel drive system has been designed to be lightweight and compact to give a sports car-like weight balance that's biased towards the rear end. On top of that, there's extra traction for full-blooded race starts, and there's even a launch control program to aid that. The other trick that this car has got up its sleeve is they've added rear-wheel steering. Now, okay, that can help if you're parking in a tight situation, but when you're on the open road, and particularly one that's windy like this, and you've got some tight corners, is that it makes the GTC4Lusso more nimble. And it has to be, because it's got quite a long wheelbase. They've had to do that to fit the back seats in. Because the rear wheels add to the steering, it gives better turn-in on tight corners. So exiting these corners is just not a problem at all. On roads like this, it's fairly nimble, and it's a sports car, but it's a huge sports car. The back seat is two shapely buckets that have adequate legroom and just enough headspace for the average adult, despite the swoopier angle of the roofline. And if you're carrying any baggage, there's a decent sized luggage area under the rear hatch that can be extended by folding the rear seat. Now, not everyone has got 600 grand to spend on a car, but those that do might find something truly unique in the GTC4Lusso. It really is remarkably comfortable to drive. Now that's something you might not expect in a Ferrari, but it's also got huge performance and pretty nimble handling. It's got the lot. Now you can also take 1, 2 or even 3 passengers to join in the fun. And I think all up, that makes it a fairly remarkable car.